what people think about him, they see this bigger-than-life character, but he's so much more complex than what you see in the movies he's in.
Clint Eastwood, the legendary actor, director, and producer, has lived a life filled with accolades, success, and personal drama. However, despite his career achievements and legendary status in Hollywood, Eastwood's family life has been far from perfect. Throughout the years, the public has witnessed a series of strained relationships within his family, particularly between Clint and some of his children. From his sons Scott and Kyle Eastwood to his daughters Lori, Kimber, and Francesca, Clint's personal life has often mirrored the complexities of the Hollywood lifestyle, where fame, fortune, and personal conflicts intertwine. The most publicized of these tensions have involved Scott Eastwood, who has often been vocal about his desire to find his own identity within the shadow of his father's immense fame, and Catherine Eastwood, who has publicly expressed grievances about her relationship with the Eastwood family. While there's no definitive evidence to suggest that Clint Eastwood outright disowned his sons, rumors have circulated over the years about the strained relationship between the iconic actor and some of his children. In this video, we'll explore the truth behind these claims, diving deep into the Eastwood family dynamics and uncovering the real reasons behind Clint Eastwood's complicated relationships with his children. Up as we navigate this emotional roller coaster through Clint's personal and professional world. His family tree. Clint Eastwood's family tree is as twisted and layered as some of his most iconic movie plots. A complex web of relationships that mirrors his larger-than-life public persona. With 2 marriages and a string of relationships throughout the years, Clint has fathered 8 children, each carrying a unique connection to the legendary actor and filmmaker. These children span across decades, from his oldest, Lori, born in 1954, to his youngest, Morgan, born in 1996. Each child's bond with Clint is defined by more than just blood. It's shaped by fame, fortune, and the constant glare of the media spotlight. Clint's first marriage to Maggie Johnson in 1953 produced 2 daughters, Lori and Kimber. While Lori, the eldest, has largely stayed out of the limelight, Kimber, his second-born, chose to follow her father's footsteps in the entertainment industry. She even appeared in a few films during the 80s and 90s, but her career was never as high-profile as Clint's. As is often the case in Hollywood, however, fame can come with a price, and Clint's family life was no exception. After their divorce in 1984, Clint's relationship with his children from his first marriage seemed to evolve into one of distance. But that distance didn't stop the public from scrutinizing every detail of their strained dynamic. In 1996, Clint married actress and TV personality Dina Eastwood, and the couple had 2 more children together, Francesca and Morgan. Francesca, unlike some of her half-siblings, found herself in the public eye as a model and actress. However, her relationship with Clint has also been the subject of scrutiny, with some reports indicating emotional rifts that became more apparent as she ventured into her own career. Meanwhile, Morgan, Clint's youngest, has been the least affected by the media frenzy, growing up in a more private environment away from the cameras. But behind the scenes, things haven't always been harmonious. Clint's multiple relationships, combined with his whirlwind career, have often led to allegations of family tension. Some sources suggest a lack of closeness between Clint and certain children, particularly when it came to his absentee parenting style, leaving room for strained feelings within his complex family structure. Yet, Clint's enduring legacy as one of Hollywood's toughest figures remains untarnished, even if the Eastwood family tree continues to grow with tangled branches. The struggle for recognition. Scott Eastwood, the son of Clint Eastwood and flight attendant Jocelyn Reeves, has spent much of his career trying to carve out a name for himself without being swallowed whole by the massive shadow of his father. Despite his undeniable acting talent and appearances in major films like Gran Torino and Flags of Our Fathers, Scott has never been handed a starring role in one of Clint's high-profile projects. This has led to rampant speculation about Clint's role in his son's career or lack thereof. Why hasn't the legendary director cast Scott in a significant lead role, despite his son's clear ability? In interviews, Scott has opened up about the relentless struggle he faced in Hollywood. He revealed that despite attending countless auditions, he often found himself being passed over. Some critics have speculated that Clint, known for his tough-love approach to fatherhood, might have subtly discouraged his son from pursuing acting on the grounds of sparing him from the inevitable comparisons to his own legendary career. This fatherly pushback, as Scott himself has confessed, shaped his work ethic but also created an emotional distance between them. While Clint's demanding and somewhat distant parenting style led Scott to develop a never-give-up attitude, it also built walls that were hard to scale. Scott's journey to recognition hasn't been easy. While Clint's films often featured big names, Scott's opportunities to truly shine were limited. However, Scott didn't give up. He fought for his own place in the entertainment world, landing roles in films like The Longest Ride and Suicide Squad, both of which showcased his ability to stand on his own. Despite this, the glaring presence of Clint's legacy has often loomed large, with fans and critics alike constantly comparing the two, making it harder for Scott to gain recognition outside of his father's shadow. As the years have passed, Scott has managed to build a name for himself, but he has yet to completely shake off the unavoidable comparisons. While Clint's influence undoubtedly helped shape him, Scott's quest for independence in an industry dominated by his father's name continues to fuel speculation about whether Clint's influence was a help or hindrance to his son's career. One thing is certain: Scott Eastwood is fighting hard for his own place in Hollywood, and his struggle for recognition is far from over. The drama and the lawsuit. Catherine Eastwood's story reads more like a Hollywood drama than real life, full of emotional turbulence, bitter feuds, and even legal threats. As the daughter of Clint Eastwood and flight attendant Jocelyn Reeves, Catherine was born into a world of fame and complexity. But rather than bask in the glow of her father's legacy, she's spent much of her life battling against it. While she's tried to carve out her own identity in the entertainment industry as both an actress and a writer, Catherine's journey has been defined just as much by family conflict as by ambition. Unlike some of her more private siblings, Catherine hasn't shied away from speaking out. She's made her grievances with the Eastwood family known, pointing fingers not just at her father, but at her half-siblings and even stepmother Dina Eastwood. Whispers of tension quickly turned into tabloid fodder when reports surfaced of legal threats, allegedly stemming from internal disputes over family assets and personal mistreatment. Catherine, according to multiple sources, felt marginalized and excluded, particularly in family affairs, where she believed she deserved a seat at the table. The fractures within the Eastwood family became more visible as Catherine began publicly addressing the emotional challenges of growing up largely disconnected from her father's world. She has expressed how being Clint Eastwood's daughter often felt more like a burden than a blessing, citing feelings of being overlooked and ignored during her formative years. In interviews, she hinted at years of unresolved issues that were buried under the Eastwood family's polished Hollywood image. For Catherine, the Eastwood name didn't come with privilege. It came with expectations and alienation. Clint Eastwood, as always, has remained characteristically silent. The Oscar-winning director rarely addresses family matters, and in Catherine's case, that silence has only added fuel to the speculation. Was he truly distant? Did he avoid addressing the internal rifts? Catherine's public comments suggest a painful emotional gap, one not easily bridged by a surname or DNA. As Catherine continues to navigate her career, her relationship with the Eastwood family remains complicated, strained by years of emotional wounds and perceived betrayals. Whether the legal threats and drama are behind them or just simmering below the surface, one thing is clear. Catherine Eastwood's place in the Eastwood saga is marked by far more than just lineage. The musician who chose his own path. Kyle Eastwood is often seen as the quiet rebel of the Eastwood clan, a man who chose to sidestep the spotlight of Hollywood in favor of a path entirely his own. As Clint Eastwood's eldest son, the expectation to follow in his father's cinematic footsteps loomed large. But rather than chase fame on the big screen, Kyle carved out a niche in the world of jazz, establishing himself as a respected bassist and composer. His decision to pursue music instead of acting not only set him apart from his siblings, but also allowed him to build a career free from the constant comparisons that often plague children of celebrities. Kyle's presence in Hollywood hasn't been non-existent. He's made a few on-screen appearances, most notably in Gran Torino, but his real contribution to his father's legacy has come from behind the scenes. Kyle has composed the scores for several of Clint's most emotionally powerful films, including $1 Million Baby, Mystic River, and Letters from Iwo Jima. His music has added a haunting depth to these films, earning him acclaim in his own right. Yet, despite this creative collaboration, whispers of a quiet tension between father and son have followed them over the years. Clint Eastwood is known for being intensely focused on his work, sometimes to the detriment of his personal relationships. While Clint has publicly praised Kyle's talent and contributions, there are rumors that his relentless drive may have created a sense of emotional distance. Unlike some of his siblings, Kyle has chosen not to air family grievances in public, which has only added to the mystery surrounding their relationship. Was the support genuine or merely professional? Was Kyle's path chosen out of passion, or to escape the long shadow of a father who dominates every room he enters? Still, Kyle Eastwood remains the Eastwood child who has most successfully stepped outside the family name and built something uniquely his. His career in jazz has taken him around the world, performing at major festivals and releasing several acclaimed albums. While his name may not generate the same Hollywood buzz as his father's, Kyle has earned a different kind of respect, one built not on legacy, but on sheer talent and individuality. And in a family full of dramatic headlines and fractured relationships, Kyle's quiet independence speaks volumes. Relationship with other daughters. Clint Eastwood's sprawling family tree includes 6 daughters, each with a dramatically different experience of what it means to be the daughter of one of Hollywood's most legendary and enigmatic men. These women, born from various relationships over decades, form a complex web of love, loyalty, conflict, and reconciliation, painting a vivid portrait of Eastwood not just as an actor or director, but as a father whose relationships are far from straightforward. Laurie Murray, Clint's oldest child, has one of the most jaw-dropping backstories of all. Born during an affair and put up for adoption, her existence was kept secret for decades. It wasn't until adulthood that Laurie reconnected with Clint, reportedly during the 1990s. Unlike the other Eastwood children who grew up under the media's watchful eye, Laurie emerged suddenly and was quickly welcomed into the fold. Despite the rocky start, she has appeared publicly with Clint, including at the Oscars, symbolizing a reconciliation that few saw coming. But behind the smiles and red carpet appearances, one has to wonder, can years of absence ever truly be made up for? Kimber Lynn Eastwood, the product of Clint's affair with Roxanne Tunis, also had an unconventional path. Though she briefly dabbled in acting, Kimber found her stride behind the scenes as a makeup artist and producer. Her involvement in several of Clint's films, including The Mule, suggests a working relationship, but the personal bond remains more ambiguous. While she rarely makes headlines, whispers of underlying tension, perhaps stemming from her status as the child of an extramarital affair, have persisted quietly for years. Then there's Allison Eastwood, Clint's daughter with his first wife, Maggie Johnson. Allison has perhaps the most harmonious and long-standing connection with her father. As both an actress and director, she's remained close to Clint, even directing films and appearing alongside him in The Mule. Their mutual respect and professional collaborations hint at a father-daughter duo that somehow managed to maintain stability amidst Clint's chaotic personal life. Francesca Eastwood, born from Clint's relationship with actress Frances Fisher, brings a more volatile dynamic into the picture. She has made waves in reality TV and indie film circles, but her relationship with her father has reportedly hit a few bumps, especially following her public fallout with Clint's then-wife, Dina Eastwood. The feud, splashed across tabloids, exposed the raw nerves within the Eastwood clan and hinted at deeper family fractures. Morgan Eastwood, the youngest and daughter of Clint's second wife, Dina, has remained more elusive. She dipped briefly into the public eye on the reality series Mrs. Eastwood and Company, but has since shifted to working behind the scenes as a producer. While her public comments on Clint are rare, her quiet demeanor and career choices suggest a deliberate step away from the family's frequent drama. Clint Eastwood's relationships with his daughters mirror the complexities of his life, some marked by closeness, others by estrangement, and all colored by fame, secrecy, and the weight of his towering legacy. Clint Eastwood's relationship with his children is a narrative marked by transformation, shaped by his evolving priorities over the years. Known for his stoic, private nature, Clint's role as a father was never as public as his larger-than-life presence in Hollywood. In the earlier days of his career, Clint was often consumed by the demands of his work, filming back-to-back movies, managing his career, and maintaining his personal life. The intense schedules left little room for the kind of fatherly involvement that most children crave. For many of his children, especially the older ones, Clint's absence was felt deeply. The bond between father and child was, in many ways, strained by the physical distance created by his constant work commitments. As Clint himself admitted in interviews, he wasn't always the kind of father he wished he had been during their formative years. The sacrifices that came with being one of Hollywood's top actors, long hours, travel, and relentless work, took a toll on his family life, with many milestones passing by without his presence. But as Clint entered his later years, a shift occurred. His relationship with his children, especially his youngest daughter, Morgan, took on a new depth. By the time Morgan was growing up, Clint's work schedule had lightened, and he seemed to make a concerted effort to be more involved. In interviews, Clint has openly acknowledged how much he valued the time spent with Morgan. He was no longer the father whose face was absent from birthday parties and school recitals. Instead, he was attending Morgan's softball games and trying to be present for her in ways he hadn't been able to for his older children. This newfound approach to fatherhood was both a revelation and a source of reflection for Clint. While his regrets over missed milestones can't be erased, Clint seemed to recognize that with age came an opportunity for reconnection and redemption. His relationship with Morgan is often depicted as more emotionally connected and supportive than his earlier relationships with his children, as Clint sought to make up for lost time. Despite the emotional distance with some of his older children, Clint has worked to maintain connections, especially in the professional sphere. His children, from his sons Scott and Kyle to his daughters Allison and Francesca, have had varying degrees of involvement in the entertainment industry, some even working alongside Clint. But the deeper personal relationships are more complex. While Clint has expressed regret over missing out on key moments in their lives, he has never been one to publicly air grievances or discuss the intricate details of his fatherly shortcomings. Clint Eastwood's evolution as a father showcases the growth of a man who, though never emotionally verbose, found the value of time spent with his children as he grew older. His later years reveal a father who, after decades of intense dedication to his career, sought to nurture and cherish the relationships that had always been at the heart of his personal life. The story of Clint and his children is one of slow yet profound transformation, a testament to the complexities of family life under the shadow of fame. Clint Eastwood's relationships with his children have been a roller coaster of highs and lows. From Scott's struggles to step out of his father's shadow, to Catherine's public grievances, Clint's family dynamics have often played out in the public eye. While there may not be clear evidence of Clint disowning any of his children, there are certainly moments that have led to strained relationships and public tension. But in the end, Clint is a man who values his family, even if his tough love approach hasn't always been understood. His children, despite their personal struggles, continue to carve out their own identities, and Clint's legacy will forever be tied to them. Don't forget to like this video, comment your thoughts on Clint Eastwood's family dynamics, and subscribe for more exciting content.